to political opponents of the Egyptian regime when they get arrested, and they get arrested at a dizzying rate and get sent to the infamous Torah prison. Arrivals there are blindfolded and then are forced to run through a human corridor of guards who pummel them with sticks until they collapse. Following this initiation for political prisoners, many of them are routinely beaten and tortured for months or years on end, often with no formal charges being filed. Some never make it out alive. Human rights groups estimate that there are around 60,000 political prisoners in Egypt. I get it that big numbers sometimes lose their meaning in this place. But by comparison, estimates are that Russia has 420. China likely has around 1,000. Egypt locks up 60,000 political opponents of the regime. Up with the demand of President el-Sisi's imprisonment spree, the country has had to build 60 new detention centers over the last decade. These prisons house some of the country's most prominent human rights defenders, journalists, opposition leaders, but also just ordinary people who are locked up for years because they just attended a protest, or they liked a Facebook post, or they recorded a TikTok video. Let me tell you a story of just one of these 60,000 people. Right now, one of my constituents is suffering through the pain and uncertainty of having a relative unjustly imprisoned in Egypt. Muhammad Amasha is studying at Yale University, pursuing his PhD. Meanwhile, his father, Dr. Ahmed Amasha, was imprisoned in Egypt from 2017 to 2019 and rearrested and jailed again in June of 2020. According to the UN, his detention seems, quote, to constitute an act of reprisal against Dr. Amasha for documenting cases of enforced disappearances for the special procedures of the Human Rights Council of the United Nations. Since his arrest in 2020, Dr. Amasha reportedly has endured abuse during his interrogations that resulted in broken ribs and other significant injuries. His abuse included rape, electrocution, threats to rape his wife, and physical abuse while blindfolded. He was forced to sign a written confession during this time of abuse. Since President Sisi came to power in 2013, more than 1,000 people have died in Egyptian custody. This isn't an adversary of the United States. This is Egypt, our ally. And every day that we continue to send billions of dollars to the Egyptian government while paying lip service to these egregious human rights violations, it is a blow both to our nation's character and to our credibility around the world. This year, we have to keep the pressure up. The United States needs not just to talk the talk when it comes to human rights abroad, we need to be able to walk the walk as well. And the decision that the administration will make this week as to whether to comply with the conditions set forth by Congress on holding the Egyptians accountable for progress on human rights is critical to American credibility globally when it comes to our call to protect human rights and democracy abroad. And for that reason, I would urge the administration to withhold the full $300 million as called for by the Appropriations Act until Egypt's record gets better.